Hi. So, as I promised to Elsa, we are going to open the topic of free will and freedom of choice. We received a question why, in some of Almin's books, she speaks about us having a free will, and in her other materials, we read that we don't have freedom of choice. A seeming contradiction, but really there is no contradiction. We can be limited in our choices by our own desires and preferences that come from our natural states of being. And there are two foundational states of being. Each of them is a determining factor of all our choices, all our preferences, and all our desires. One of them is infinite intent, or we also call it our true will, our true self. It is inherent in our true nature, our true self. And as we know, there's a technical possibility to live from a different state of being, which we call illusion, false ego, artificially made personality created by artificially made programs and belief systems. Almin often refers to a story of Garden of Eden with two trees there: tree of life, which is our true self and infinite intent, and tree of knowledge, which is artificially made information and artificially made lifestyle. Two trees are two sources of information. Each one of us can draw their existence either from tree of life or from tree of knowledge. There are two different operational systems. The core foundation of our choices, preferences, and desires is one of those two operational systems. And if my life comes from the tree of life operational system, it's impossible for me to choose or desire something pertinent to the tree of knowledge or tree of duality, because it's the tree of knowledge of good and evil. And each of the trees determine person's brain and nervous system's configuration. Our nervous system resembles a tree, and we have desires and inclinations that are determined by one of those configurations. So, if I'm configured according to infinite intent, I can't desire illusion and I can't resist life or the tree of life because we can't resist ourselves. If we are the tree of life or infinite intent, embodiments of infinite intent, we don't want to participate in artificial human lifestyle. We don't want alcohol, we don't want human entertainment, we don't want to be polygamous, we don't want to use recreational drugs, just because we are self sufficient. And we don't need to use external stimuli for making us happy and excited and feel good. We just want to create and create and create and to be productive and even more productive. That's why we always want to initiate something, some projects, do something for community to contribute to evolution of our life, to keep learning and evolving. That's why we take courses and webinars, participate in our Telegram group, because we know that if we learn and then actively share with others what we learn, we empower ourselves. So many people complain that they're depressed and experience a lack of energy. It's absolutely understandable if they don't contribute and share their wisdom and experiences with others. And if you live as a tree of life, you know that you can't allow even a second of being depressed and apathetic or lazy. The moment when you felt first signs of inertia, apathy, depression, laziness, you go to the Almin Telegram group and share. Sometimes we have to force ourselves to get ourselves immediately out of our gray areas of apathy and indifference in order not to allow ourselves to switch to a different tree of knowledge, which is also known as tree of death and self-destruction, because it's illusion of separation from infinite source of our being, where programs of death and self-destruction are in operation. That's why people use alcohol, drugs, nightclubs, other self-destructive behaviors. Because programs of self-annihilation are in operation. If you live as a tree of life, you don't need any other sources of so called excitement or relaxation. You're abundantly excited and relaxed within yourself. And all that you need to experience that, especially acutely, in especially acute way, is, for example, to spend some time in complete silence or to keep yourself in a fresh river of life, fresh flow of information that's available through webinars, personal consultations. If you feel like you need 1 year personal assistance from our team, indefinite number of private consultation, indefinite number of sound elixirs. For example, this might be a possibility. There's a very special offer of 5,000 US dollars available, or as we said, friendship. Friendship is always for free. So we have a range between free and $5,000 package. You can remain in the friendship zone. Well, the only inconvenience might be that we assist on first come first served basis, and you wait in line. It might be a very short wait or very long wait, depending on volume of requests. But it has to be a brief question request. Please work on formulating a very brief, very clear, and very concise question before texting. If you need a brief phone conversation, it's also for free. Or we can send you audio message. But please text before you call so that we can schedule our call. But all questions will be answered and assistance will be provided. If you order a private consultation, you will get into it in our priority list. And it's 1.5 hours, actually 1.5 to 2 hours, sometimes more, depending on level of complexity of your request. But all of this is a part of the tree of life. We want to be on top of your personal evolution. And sometimes we have to work through inertia and push ourselves, literally force ourselves to evolve, to break through density. Nothing happens by itself. Otherwise, we drift away towards the tree evolution. When density and inertia prevail, we lift ourselves up, we force ourselves, we push ourselves, we share with a group, we take a course, we listen to a meditation, we dance with the sound elixir or do a Rash Sattva Yoga, Bilvaspata. We just do it. And suddenly our reality changes and miracles happen all around. This is how we consciously remain within infinite intent and experience corresponding urges and desires. And we make choices that correspond to our operational system, whether it's infinite intent or artificial illusion of death and destruction. And if we experience infinite intent, we may notice that our choices are limited. Some people can say that we live a boring, monotonous life, but it is from their perspective. And if someone experiences tree of illusion, it may look like their choices are more unlimited, except they can't make our choices of the tree of life. So this is, it may seem that this is their only limit. They're not interested in spiritual information, personal evolution, self-empowerment, self-work, releasing their infinite potential, and creating extraordinary solutions. Consequently, their choices may be many, but they are limited. Our choices may be few, but we experience life with no limitations. In this sense, we don't have a freedom of choice. We are prisoners of our operational system, which is the tree of life. Naturally, if I do only what I want to do, I'm bound by it, and I can't do other things other than I'm currently busy with. I can do only one thing at a time. Can I want and do something else while I'm doing what I'm doing? Technically, no. And this is what we mean that we don't have a freedom of choice. We are limited by our own desires burning within us. And we are limited by our operational system, which determines nature of our choices, our preferences, our desires. And of course, when you live from the tree of life, or your God Goddess DNA or infinite intent, you make conscious choices and you take full responsibility, full conscious responsibility. So, number one, you make conscious choices. Your choices are only conscious. And you take, number two, conscious full responsibility for yourself and for your environment. You're consciously creating your reality. If someone lives from anti-infinite state of being, or tree of death, tree of knowledge state of being, they live unconsciously. They're unable to make conscious choices. And they're unable to take full responsibility for their lives. It's impossible to live consciously in a state of anti-infinite. It seems like they have so many choices, all kinds of alcohol, nightclubs, multiple sexual partners. And this is life of unconscious chaos. This is life of unconscious chaos. And some people compare it with a nightmare. Freedom of choice? Seemingly yes. But it's freedom with no freedom. If we have a choice to be a master creator of your own reality by the power of the infinite, or another choice, to renounce our true infinite self, our God DNA, to completely lose ourselves and start looking for comfort and excitement anywhere else. The topic remains open, and we'll be more than happy to hear your questions and comments.